And welcome back. We are standing here in Monarch Plaza, the former site of Municipal Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, right here, as we are coming in. And we have a picture here from the 70s of the Kansas City Chiefs playing the New York Giants. And the Giants have just hired a new coach, Canadian-born Brian Daboll. He was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, a 5-time Super Bowl champion under Bill Belichick with the New England Patriots as the wide receivers and tight end coach, 2 separate reigns. Also a national championship with the University of Alabama under Nick Saban. James, are you excited for this pickup? Where do you see this going?
It's going to be like a change of flavor for sure. This guy's a player's coach. He seems to get along with everybody. Has a good offensive mind, apparently. I mean, it's easy to look that way when you have Josh Allen running the offense for you. So I'm just a little hesitant to crown this guy, but I want him to do well. I'm just cautiously. I'm not even optimistic. I'm just very cautious on it.
No, I can understand that.
Like battered woman's syndrome. Being a Giants fan, I just want to see some change on the field, and then I'll feel better. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, the Giants do have the 5th overall and 7th overall picks in this year's draft. Not necessarily going to turn the franchise around. You're saying what? What should they draft? Because 7th overall, there's a couple of quarterbacks up there that are projected in the top 15. Would you go quarterback or would you pick a different position? Stick with Daniel Jones this year.
No, I'd stick with Jones and bring in somebody like Ryan Fitzpatrick that could beat him out for the job in the preseason. Someone that's actually going to pressure him. I'd like someone better than that, but the way our cap is set up, I don't think we could really afford, a top tier guy to bring in. I don't think there is one on the market. I think with the 5th pick, they should get the good defensive end. I forget where he's from. If he's still there, absolutely slam the defensive end. If not, the best lineman. And then at the 7th pick, the best lineman available, period. Maybe even both picks as linemen.
Pete, do you see these fortunes changing? You see what this guy did with Josh Allen up in Buffalo. Do we see this happening with the Giants soon? Because we have seen those former Patriot assistants where they've actually gone out before and they've said, we're going to do this. And they did it. Matt Patricia in Detroit, Josh McDaniels in Indianapolis. What are we saying?
Well, I think you got to see some upside. I mean, the guy has a decent resume. It's the most popular thing for general managers to hire coordinators on teams that made quick turnarounds from being mediocre to bottom of the league to all of a sudden relevant. And I mean, the Bills did it very fast. And why not give the offensive coordinator a head coaching gig? Because let's face it, the Bills are doing it on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of people will say that, it was, Josh Allen's so great. But the thing is, we've seen elite quarterbacks playing on the bad coaching systems and just not do well.
It's true. Yeah, but by that standard, maybe some people will be looking at the Bengals coaches.
Oh, yeah, totally. They're already – if the Bengals weren't still in the playoffs right now, offensive coordinators would 100% be getting the call. Whoever the offensive coordinator is for the Bengals would be getting the call for a head coaching job. As long as he's not on the contract, of course.
And the Giants aren't the only team, though, getting a new coach. I hear the Raiders are getting a new coach. Pete, tell us about that one.
Right now they're very close to signing Josh McDaniels. And, a lot of people don't know if Josh McDaniels is a good coach or not, and I certainly don't. He had a 1.5-year stint at head coaching for the Broncos. Kyle Orton was his quarterback. Remember that trade with Cutler?
Out of nowhere.
Right. Nobody saw that call. They downgraded that quarterback to pick up Kyle Orton. And actually finished 8-8 in their first season. The second season, I think he resigned mid-season or something of the sort. And they finished 4-12 that year. But
hey, Pete.
What's that?
What about Versace? Huh?
Yeah. Well, I listen. There's a lot of really good candidates for the Raiders. I think Rich Bisaccia is good. I think they should try to figure out a way to retain him. They're talking. The Bears are in contact with him about coming over to the Bears to play special teams coach, which is just a lateral move in terms of coaching. I don't think he should do that. I would love if he stayed with us. He's got the players love him. You know, if the Raiders could just somehow pick up an offensive coordinator that just does all the work and just let Bisaccia just coach, you know, that would be the solution here, in my opinion. But I don't think that the Josh McDaniels move is a bad move. I mean, he's got.
Is that your preference? That's who you would want if anybody.
Here's the thing. I think he really could develop Carr, and I know Carr is like
Develop Carr.
He's 31 years old. I know, developing a 31-year-old quarterback. But the thing is I think he could work with him really well, and you know, he didn't have that in Denver.
Maybe scheme a little better for him.
Right.
I mean, Carr. I don't know if Carr is really your problem over there. We spoke about it before. I actually think the Raiders are going to need to lean into a disciplinarian coach. Living in Las Vegas and being a 20-something-year-old with money is going to lead to a lot of Henry Ruggs, the Mr. Hey, yeah, you hard on Instagram guy. You know, it's going to lead to a lot of
the Chiefs signed, which is kind of stupid. You shouldn't be allowed to do that.
No, that's a little ridiculous, don't you think?
You know, I do. You shouldn't be able to sign a guy because he gets kicked off the team for pointing a gun. Come on. There should be like a grace period, and then he goes back into some pool.
Right. Or like
it was like some type of futures contract. I don't know how that works. Anyway, we got another head coaching gig too down in Jacksonville. It's going to be Byron Leftwich. Byron Leftwich, former quarterback for the Jaguars. Will he help with Trevor Lawrence in developing that team? They do pick first overall this year.
Well, it can't hurt. He's from what I hear, he's a real players coach. Everybody respects him. If Tom Brady could go there and just be like, he's a great guy. I mean, Tom Brady's the coach himself. It's to have Tom Brady's approval seems pretty good, I believe, in an offense coordinator, especially a young offensive coordinator. But there's a lot of history with Byron Leftwich going to Jacksonville. He was a quarterback there, so they're staying within their own brass. And I like it. I like the move. It's not flashy. It's not a big splash, but you know, to have an offensive mind actually come into Jacksonville, that's something we haven't really seen much of.
One thing too, another one head coach candidate around here that always comes up for the last 3 years, Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for Kansas City. Do you think he lands anywhere, or does he stay in Kansas City?
What? Who is that?
I've been really
there's a truck going by.
He seems to be the guy that gets lost everywhere. I think maybe he has an attitude problem, and the other thing is a lot of people are like, yeah, it's Andy Reid pulling those strings. I think a lot of people
100%. That defense stinks. Let's be real.
Yeah, I think if Bieniemy left, you'd see very little change. I do think it's Andy Reid pulling the strings. But it does seem weird that he doesn't get that many second interviews and like stuff. And he's been a part of this like super dynamic offense. But yeah, a lot of people are like, oh,
he has the best quarterback in the league, so it helps.
Yeah. Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, they see where it's coming from. You know what I mean?
And then the Chicago Bears have hired a coach. Pete, you want to tell us about that one?
I love Eberflus going there. I think that's a great. That is. If you're a Chicago fan, I mean, that is their culture. You know, drafting defensive-minded coaches. I mean, this guy took the Colts, took a roster on the Colts that everybody that wasn't flashy, and makes them amongst the best in the league. And so many players
missing the playoffs. Best team at missing the playoffs. Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, they missed the playoffs, but look at all the players went to the Pro Bowl. I mean, they missed the playoffs because they didn't have a quarterback. Let's face it. But their defense, nobody on that defense is considered like top tier elite. They're just coached really well. And I think that's going to be a huge move going to the Bears. It doesn't help Fields' stock. I can tell you that much. Fields is probably going to be there for, they're probably bringing somebody in to, fight Fields in camp, challenge him in camp, and possibly win the starting job. They got to bring in depth at the quarterback position. I don't think this coach is going to develop Fields, and you're gonna
That's
see.
why you don't draft quarterbacks out of Ohio State. It's just a rule.
Oh yeah, you just don't. You draft quarterbacks to play wide receiver.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But yeah, that's that. Any other coaching vacancies we got?
You got what's his name? That went over to Denver.
Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers is offensive coordinator. Ooh, talk about that one.
Well,
Because he's leaving Green Bay, I'll tell you that.
yeah, it's what you've done for me lately, kind of thing. I mean, I don't believe that coordinator is very good. I think the entire success of the Green Bay Packers runs through Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if the coordinator was really that good, then Jordan Love would have done something in his few stinks as a starter, and he did it. So,
yeah, but the thing is, does Aaron Rodgers really like the guy and possibly follow him there? Is that
that's a good point.
Is that what John Elway? Yeah, is that what John Elway and the Broncos are thinking? Because I think that's the move. And if you don't see them landing Rodgers next year, that they move on from this guy quickly. But that's just me.
The other thing too, and I would question with Rodgers is, does he want to come to the AFC West with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr? Because you have a pretty good quarterback class in that division already.
Yeah.
That's
look at officially the hardest division in football. It's not even close.
Yeah, right now it is. Yeah.
I mean, it already is. And then you're gonna just throw that into the mix. I can't see
exactly.
why Aaron Rodgers would do that. I mean, Tom Brady went to Tampa. He said he went to Tampa so that he can play Drew Brees twice. I don't think Aaron Rodgers.
The team was good around him, and that's like I think the Broncos are pretty good. I don't know if they're good enough to be like, oh, if I go there, we're winning the Super Bowl.
I mean,
they could use a quarterback.
Their roster is actually no. They kind of dismantled their roster a little bit. They got rid of Von Miller. A lot of the key offensive linemen are not there anymore. Cortland Sutton, who's their wide receivers that we're talking here? You're right. They don't really have a lot of options for them. But maybe Denver has a lot of capital. Maybe Denver makes a big splash and picks up all the pieces they need out of free agency. You know, they still have a good defense even without Von Miller there. So
John Elway's not afraid to go for it, apparently. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, he did it with Peyton Manning, and it paid off, and he won the Super Bowl. So maybe he'll get it done with Aaron Rodgers. Because quite frankly, the Broncos haven't had a quarterback since John Elway. At least a good one. Anything else we want to touch on before we get out of here?
That's it.
All right, guys. Well, this has been carted off. James, Greg, and Pete, thank you so much. This was our championship game preview show. Enjoy the games this weekend. This has been live from Municipal Stadium in Kansas City. We got Connecticut and New York broadcasting as well. Guys, you have a great day. Enjoy the games this weekend.